Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. We have 74 more days to the conduct of the 2019 elections in Nigeria, as each passing day brings us closer to the all-important polls. Always keep a date with us for in-depth information and analysis. Today on the program, Buhari denies being cloned, blames those who wish him dead for Jubril of Sudan rumor. PDP kicks off presidential campaign in Sokoto, and later on the show, Shehu of Borno dismisses claims that Boko Haram has been defeated, says Borno under siege and seeks change in approach by the military. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Many thanks for joining us again. There's a popular maxim about rumor mongering that I would like to share with us. It goes thus: rumors are carried by haters, spread by fools, and accepted by idiots. Harsh. Now, to that poser, is this scenario true of the rumored death of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari and the subsequent cloning of one Jubril from Sudan to take his place and person? This rumor spread like wildfire in dry forest until President spoke on the issue on Sunday. Speaking with a cross-section of Nigerians in Poland, President Buhari denied that he is Jubril from Sudan. His alleged body double has alleged in many quarters and blamed the rumor on those who wished him dead while he was recuperating from an illness in London. Here is a clip of the moment when he made this clarification.
Yes, there's one important question. I seem to forget about it because the answers of that question must be ignorant and irreligious. Somebody says that I'm cloned. A lot of people hoped that I was dead and hoped I died. And poor Vice President, and some people have started, in fact, asking for his office whether he should consider them for being the vice president because I was dead. They must have embarrassed him a lot because he visited me when I was in London convalescent. But it's really me, I assure you.
I didn't take this serious, at the time they started that rumor. And I know that their leader, Nnamdi Kanu, actually said that on Jubril from Sudan. But unfortunately, it became like a gospel in a certain quarter of the country. And people that I felt that they're enlightened or I felt, should know more, they were asking questions. And even a national daily actually did like a feature on it, trying to show the Photoshop of biro, President Buhari holding the biro, the pen with his left hand, and also his left hand, a body double. And when something goes on and on like that in Nigeria, after some time, Jide, I don't know what to make of this ridiculous.
It didn't particularly go viral immediately. It didn't really become such a big talking point initially. But as we are closing in on another election, people are beginning to talk about Jubril of Sudan, Jubril of Sudan. Look, any way that some people think that they can stop the president, they are going to try. Because 4 months ago, people were barely talking about this. And this is something that Kano said a long time ago. A long time ago. He's not a genetic scientist. How he will look at someone and immediately discover that that person has been cloned. I wish I understand. But this underlines the fact that many Nigerians are ignorant. And a lot of our so-called educated people,
ones,
they don't read. People, how many people have bothered themselves to go and read about how a human being can be cloned and the characteristics of a cloned individual? You know? It's not, the human being is not like Dolly the sheep, for example, that was cloned back then. It's not a scientist in one of the Scandinavian countries who was even notorious for trying to clone people. The government descended on him. So it's not really something that is common. If it becomes common, if you have a daughter who is very beautiful, who is good-natured, and has cancer of the blood, you would think of cloning that girl so that you can have someone that looks like her and your joy can be sustained. But we've not reached that point. The human race has not even reached that point when people can just
you assume that
people
character
can be serially
that fits into
cloned.
Mr. President.
I mean, someone says something and we have not even interrogated what he has said. Yet a lot of us are inclined to believe it. It's amazing. It's amazing. But as I said, 4 months ago, people were barely talking about this. Not that it was not there, but the frequency in which people are debating this, talking about this, points only to the fact that there's an election coming,
it's looking like a campaign strategy.
People think that, oh, if we continue to talk about this, maybe we can demarket him, we can get him to lose some votes. This is the way I see this. But I expect Nigerians, including the educated people, you know, to read more, ask questions. That is what that great ABU lecturer, Tanimo Abubakar, said, that education encourages disputation. He was the dean of, I think, Faculty of Arts at that time. I've interviewed him. He was a young journalist. Brilliant man. He said, education encourages disputation. Because if you are educated and someone tells you this is white, you will argue. That's what Professor Tanimo Abubakar meant. And even in this kind of discussion, it is education that will lay bare what is not known to a lot of people. Pastors can say what they like. But one thing I know is that when pastors join those saying this kind of nasty things, in no time their churches will be deserted. There's no doubt about it, because you cannot make a habit of not making sense and expect that people will continue to gravitate towards you. Oh, it really makes no sense.
Emeka, sometimes, as I was probing into this, you know, this Jubril of this thing, and I felt that some people, the level of animosity against the president, because the president said something that, oh, when I went to London, when I went to London, and people thought I wasn't going to get out from it. And some people actually wanted Mr. President dead. And that gave credence to this Jubril of this thing, because they couldn't believe it. Or some people still believe that they don't believe in the kind of miracle that might have happened to Mr. President. But some people will still tell you that, no, that is not the president. The president passed away last year.
Yeah, well, to me, it's not unusual if there are people who criticize the president, or, like you said, not animosity towards the president. It's not unusual, because in a big
kind of wishing him dead.
Oh, well, people can wish anything in their hearts. We are human beings.
They are not God.
You cannot expect that all of us will think, that everybody who knows you will think good about you, or, you know, you can't expect that. But the best thing is for you to keep doing what is right, for you to keep working in the public interest. You know, the best thing is for you to also keep upholding values that build the society. That is what's important. If you're bothering yourself about what people wish you or don't wish you, then you will be distracted and you will lose focus in no time, because you will now spend time, bothering about.
Responding to them.
And then again, sycophants could also take advantage of the fact that people, okay, this is what they are saying, this is what they are saying. And you now become afraid. And what happens? People take advantage of it. So I don't see it as something surprising, whether people lost animosity or anything. But what surprises me about this saga is, why do the president's handlers keep quiet about it? You see, in the age of social media, devices, such electronic devices are strong tools in the hands of people. So you would expect that something like this, when it came up, definitely, yes, people didn't believe it, but you see, because nothing was said or done to debunk it, nothing was said or done to respond and quickly dismiss it, it now gained a life of its own. And of course, the way things work in this country. For instance, you look at certain things that people raised. They talked about the president is, that is not really a tall man, a very tall man, but that his height reduced somehow. No, I'm giving you sides to it. They talked about his earlobes. They talked about his, right, whether he could write with his right, whether he's ambidextrous, he could write with his left hand and the right hand at the same time. Now these were elements of this rumor, but I believe that the president's handlers should have come out to debunk it. They shouldn't have, for instance, kept quiet and just wished it would go away, because you're talking about the president of Nigeria. And let me tell you something. You see, in this age, in the age in which we live in, definitely it's not just Nigerians that could whip up something like this and give it currency. Every nation has its friends and its enemies. So you have to make sure that information about the leaders, is kept in the proper domain.
Julie, as we wrap up on this, I'm going to ask you a two-in-one question now. And it took Mr. President to go to Poland to dismiss this. And yes, it took him to go to Poland to dismiss this.
Not dismissing in Nigeria.
Mr. President did not speak to any journalists in Nigeria. And this is becoming...
He does that all the time.
So now, and as at that time that Mr. President was in London for treatment, is it true that people were actually calling Vice President Shivaji, the acting president then, that especially people from the Northern extraction, that they don't mind being his Vice President, sharp.
The thing is, they knew that if the president passed on, Shivaji will become his deputy. So, will become the president. The takeover. Yes. Sorry. Then, many of them, some governors, there's a particular Northwest governor that was really keen. They began to move very close to the president, to the acting president. Because on the night Buhari left Nigeria, honestly, he was in a terrible state.
The night that the Chibok girls returned.
At a point, he looked at him, so he wiped his brow, because he was in that building where the AC was working perfectly. But the president was sweating. He was in a bad state. He was not even audible. He was talking, but he was not audible. Remember, we tried to use the story, some of what he said, but the president was not audible. He was in such a bad state. And then he went abroad. We worked on him seriously. I remember one of my friends in the security cycle saying, look, Jide, by July, you won't believe he's this president. Even me, I was scared. I didn't believe the guy's story, though he's someone that has never misled me. He said, by the time this man returns in July, you won't believe he's the one that, because of the work that they have done on him. I can't talk about some of what he told me here, but he gave me assurance that, contrary to what people are saying, the president will return, and he will return stronger. This president returns stronger because of the intense work that his doctors, his minders did on him. No doubt about it. Even his family, on the day he took that trip, that road, that he walked to...
Katsina.
Yes, he walked to the
Dara.
mosque. Even a member of his family said they were shocked. Because in October, I had the privilege of talking to some of his relations. And they said, look, even we were shocked that he had that energy. Because this is a president who after finishing work, he will be watching TV sometimes up till 11, and the wife will be saying, go and sleep. You've been working all day, go and sleep. They need him to retain his energy as an old man. You understand? But he came back a lot stronger. No doubt about it. A lot stronger than he was when he came back the first time. You know, when he came back the first time, that musician, Rarara, said, so Hoya Soka the quarry, that he came down strong. The old man came down strong. This time when he came back, he was a lot stronger than even Rarara was talking about. You know? So that is what confounds people, some people, that a man that was almost like Walking Dead, how come he's this strong now? How come he's going to places, he's doing meetings for 6 hours with security operatives? How come he's going to this place? How come he's going to that place? How come he has found an energy that was not there before? But that's the beauty of medical sciences. And people must admit.
Miracle.
Yes. But to a lot of us who still believe in miracles, yes, miracle. But medical sciences can actually do a lot.
Okay. Early birds, they say, catch the worm, especially in an atmosphere of intense competition. In Nigeria, the quest for votes in the 2019 election is in top gear, and the main opposition party, that's the People's Democratic Party, appears ready. The PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar flagged off his campaign for the poll in Sokoto, Nigeria, the region with the largest voting population in the country. Atiku was joined at the event by his running mate Peter Obi and other party bigwigs. So let the game begin. Let us take you to Sokoto for some reactions from the events.
It is about food, it's about security, and we'll vote Atiku Abubakar because he understands it. He knows how to make jobs. He knows how to make factory work. He knows how to unite Nigeria. That is why we vote Atiku Abubakar. Nigeria! Nigeria! We will present the flag to our presidential candidate. It will fly our flag nationwide, and it will bring victory to all of you. Abubakar Atiku. Sugar Bangasa, Nigeria. His Excellency Peter Obi is the running mate. Before Atiku Abubakar, please address this crowd.
Sana'o'in kusan sana'o'in duniya nan duba wanda ban yi ba. Ni manomi ne, ni dan kasuwa ne, ni ma'aikaci ne. Ba abin da ban yi ba domin nemi arzikina. Don haka ni na tabbata ba wani a cikinmu wanda zai taimaka muku musamman matasa. Kuma matasan da nake dauka aiki ba su da iyaka. Daga sama zuwa ƙasa, daga ƙasa zuwa sama. PDP! PDP! PDP!
That's the flag of Atiku Abubakar's campaign in Sokoto. Jide, the race is on now. And as we approach the election, the presidential election, that's built for February 16, 2019, it's obvious. It's a race between the PDP and the APC. No. Whatever, any permutation between now and then, it's safe to conclude that this
is a two-horse race.
It's a two-horse race. Looking at the selling point of the People's Democratic Party, one thing caught my attention. The Senate President and some other people that they spoke so much about poverty,
hunger.
It's
clear from the from what I saw today, that is the strategy of the PDP. That everywhere they go, they are going to say, look, there's so much hunger in the land. And Dogara was, speaking in Hausa and saying, look, these people, what they have brought on you is extreme hunger. So, and everybody who spoke, they told that line. Even Kwankwaso too was saying, look, you've been deceived in the past. And when he said that, I felt, are you saying even you joined in deceiving them? Because you work for APC now. He said, you've been deceived in the past.
He didn't mention those who deceived.
Yes, he didn't mention those who deceived because you must be one of those who deceived. He said, you've been deceived in the past, it should not happen again. Namadina, Sambo, everyone, the same message.
Hunger.
Look, hunger. You see, because whether we like it or not, there is hunger in the land. Food prices.
Extreme hunger.
Food prices, especially in December, food prices spike in December because of demand and all that. Food prices spike in December. Now, these campaigns have come at this time. A lot of the poor people in the north, even that local rice, they can't afford it. I once told you the story of a man who picked me up from my hotel in Warri Road, Sabongeri, Kano, and took me to Jedi and was abusing the president throughout. And I'm like, look, this man has only come to repair the damage that has been done. He said, no, I don't want to hear about that. So at a point when he saw that I was trying to calm him down, tell him that, look, tomorrow can be better, then he rolled his eyes at me. So I had to give myself sense, as they say in this part of the country. I had to give myself sense that that man probably had a dagger in his pocket. So if I incense him too much, then blood could just
You struck
start
the wrong
coming out
chord.
from a part of my body. So I left him alone. I said, well, this is. He said they could not forgive the president for increasing fuel prices. That increase led to other. It had a kind of ripple effect. That's the way many people think. Hunger is a big thing, especially among even the people who vote, the rural poor. They are the ones who do so much voting. In urban centers, many people don't vote. On that day, they will be sleeping. But their message is for the poor. And they know that people are grappling, they are struggling to survive. And that's what Atiku held on to that. And he's saying, look, there is no one amongst all of us who can really turn things around for the youth, because there is youth unemployment, like him. And that was why I was saying there is nothing that he had not done, that he had been trader, he had been in government, he had been customs. He was saying all that just to show that, look, I can do this job, I have the experience. And at a point too, he said, look, my ancestors are from Wuruno. You know Wuruno, the ancient town of Wuruno in Sokoto.
Sokoto, yes.
You know,
Sokoto.
that is where the what's it called? The jihad.
Yeah.
It's like the base of the jihad.
Yes.
Usman Danfodio's jihad. So he was referring to. He said, my ancestors came from that area, so I will speak Fulfulde. And he began to speak.
Really?
Yes, he began to speak Fulani language. He knows what he's doing, because there are many people who say, no, Atiku is not a full-blooded Fulani. So he tried to address that by speaking that language. So their message is clear. They want Atiku, when they talked, the three things that I talked about poverty, insecurity, and his plan to unite Nigerians. He didn't talk about fighting corruption. Their game, their own agenda is clear. They are not going to tell you that they want to fight corruption. In any case, if he says that, you are not likely to believe. So he wants to stick to this issue of hunger. And when even when Saraki was talking, Saraki doesn't really understand Hausa. Maybe he understands, but he doesn't really speak Hausa, except they write for him and he memorizes it. By his background, he doesn't really speak Hausa.
Okay.
But Dino Melaye speaks fluent Hausa. Dino was screaming, "Unwa, unwa, unwa" means hunger. I said, he was screaming "Unwa" as his boss Saraki was talking. He was screaming "Unwa, unwa." So it is clear, being the first, yes, it is clear what their message is, and I'm sure that they will stay on it until the APC finds a way to combust that argument and redirect the focus of the campaign.
Emeka, if somebody is telling you, I will fight corruption to a standstill, and that message is still on, we are going to fight corruption, and the other person is saying that, I will fight hunger to a standstill.
Yes.
I will eradicate poverty. I will fight poverty.
Yes.
At this time, what do you think Nigerians will be interested in?
The man who is hungry wants food. What are you talking about? He wants food. He wants to be disconnected. He feels he's disconnected. He feels he's disconnected from what a lot of these, a lot of things that have been said, for some years, even before 2015. This is not the first government that says fighting corruption. Obasanjo, didn't he say he was fighting corruption? Didn't Yar'Adua say so? Didn't Jonathan say so? Didn't they arrest people? People were arrested. People were put on trial. People were jailed. But the hungry man tells you that from Obasanjo down to today, I have been disconnected. I don't have food on my table. I don't have a job. I can't send my children to school. I can't pay school fees. I can't even feed. I can't pay rent. I can't pay utility bills. And possibly, even the landlord is threatening to throw him or her out. So what I believe is this. You see, the issue of hunger is a global phenomenon. It's known globally that, you see, if you deal with hunger, if you lift people like China did, lifted millions out of poverty, you will increase their capacity, you understand, to join in the fight against social vices. You'll be able to get them to buy in to your programs. You can't be talking of fighting corruption, and the people are dying of hunger. Because they'll ask you in any case, who are the corrupt people? Is the big men like all of you in power? Is the big men and the big women like all of you in power? I don't even know what you're talking about. When you talk about billions, you recovered billions, you recovered this, that, and the other.
I want to eat.
I can't see food. There's no food on my table. What are you talking about? It is you big men who are well fed that have enough time to take the one, look for the one you will stash, look for big houses in different parts of the country. But poor people like us, we're even looking for just one small room to stay with our, with our spouses and children. So I think basically that issue of hunger is very, very clear. And you see, it's still early days. Definitely, I believe the issue of corruption, Atiku will still address it because there have been a lot of questions. Yeah, there are a lot of questions which I believe will come up. Yeah, I believe he will address it. I believe he will, and it's just like President Buhari too.
He won't make it the focal point of it.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, but politicians can always bring surprises.
What we're trying to say now, is that in 2015, I remember all the states that I went to go and cover their campaigns, that's APC, PDP. But one thing that was clear about APC, they had 3 programs. And everywhere they went to, Mr. President, everywhere they went to, any opportunity, I'm going to fight corruption. I'm going to reform the economy and
fight insecurity.
And that was the 3 cardinal points everywhere he went to. Now, if the People's Democratic Party discovered this kind of strategy, that, look, Nigeria is known to be, according to one research, poverty capital of the world.
Of the world.
Is anything to go by?
11 million people lost their jobs between 2015 and now.
So if anything is to go by. So when you want to see this thing, I think in terms of, I think the APC will need to be more creative to counter this. If there's any way they want to use to counter this, because it relates with me more.
Food, jobs, unemployment, food, jobs, youth unemployment.
No, the thing is, the Atiku campaign will be heavy on security as well. Yes, Buhari came promising to secure our country and secure our people. But we can all see that security is probably the biggest problem we have in Nigeria today. It's arguably the biggest problem we have. Across the country, people are being killed, you know. In the northeast,
is contending with poverty.
In the northeast, they said the idle man is the devil's workshop.
Oh, sure.
Boko Haram will not find it difficult to recruit their cadres. Because the hungry people are out there who willingly want to enlist. Remember what happened in Madagali area of Adama, where Boko Haram was giving loans to youths and was using the loans to conscript them. I spoke about it in January 2016 when I went to that place. And about 3 months later, the Nigerian army confirmed. You know, because when we say some of those things, they say, oh, it's a lie. Where does Jide hear this thing? He talks as if he knows everything about the military. Well, I went to the place and I discovered that Boko Haram was giving loans to young people. And the spokesman of the army, about 3 months later, he confirmed
it. That's true.
And then warned parents to be careful because their children were being lured to join the Boko Haram based on the offer of loans. So this is the thing. So if people are broke or people do not have money, temptation creeps in from different angles. So that is the thing. But Boko Haram will find willing fighters, not just within Nigeria, but outside of Nigeria, from among Chadian rebels and idle people in Niger Republic.
Even Cameroonian gendarmes, they are not being paid.
So this is the thing. The way it is, Atiku, and even today he talked about the need to unite Nigerians and insecurity. So security, that was one of the key programs of the APC. The opposition will use it now to campaign against the government because Nigeria, we have issues with security. Kidnapping is rampant. Murder of people is rampant. Armed robbery rampant in some parts of the country. And then Boko Haram and killer headsmen, they are still running riot.
Okay, let's quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. This is Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this break. Back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. As we wrap up on this, what do you expect from on Saturday? The governorship campaign was kicked off and officially, and for the presidential campaign that we saw in Sokoto today, I saw a lot of heavyweights, PDP heavyweights, and even the former president. It seems the PDP is putting, yes, it seems the PDP has been doing a lot of reconciliatory work, and all the blocks coming together, and this will be like a big advantage because it's not going to do any good for them to face the All Progressive Congress with a divided house.
No, you know, the interesting thing is that look at PDP that was dismissed. You know, after the 2015 election, the PDP went down and has come back stronger, much stronger, and you know, much united. You know, so what I believe is that the campaigns will be very interesting, but I hope that politicians will face issues because we are being distracted by things that are not important.
We have to wrap it up, Babajide.
Yes, the campaigns will be really, really interesting. And I look forward to how the APC responds to all that has been said today. It shouldn't just be in form of press statements. Yes. What is your alternative to what they've talked about? And it has to be something really deep, not simply to abuse people and dismiss people. No, that's not what Nigerians want. What is your plan? If Atiku says he is going to fight poverty, you must show that you have a better plan to defeat poverty. If Atiku says, oh, hunger is the issue, you must show that
What you are doing to...
especially in the area of agri, what you are showing, you must show that what you are doing will ultimately lead to better, greater food production, food security and all that. But security is also a factor in this hunger that we are talking about, because people are unable to produce as much as they should. Farmers are being killed in their farms, especially in the Northeast, which is one of the most fertile parts of our country.
All right, we have to leave it there. And apart from politics, one major topic that sharply divides opinion among Nigerians is the vexed issue of Boko Haram insurgency. The repeated insistence by the federal government that the insurgents have been degraded continues to pitch citizens for or against the claim. A prominent traditional ruler in the Northeast, that's Shehu of Borno, Alhaji Abubakar Umar El-Kanemi, has joined others to dismiss any claim that Boko Haram has been defeated. The Shehu says many towns and even the state capital Maiduguri are still under siege, such that residents and farmers cannot move out of the city beyond 5 kilometers without being killed or kidnapped by insurgents. He sought a change in the approach of the military to the fight against insurgents. This is big. If Alhaji El-Kanemi, that Shehu of Borno, is saying that, look, you can't move, that even Maiduguri, that some of us used to think that is the most fortified state capital in Nigeria, that you can't move 5 kilometers outside, 10 kilometers within outside Maiduguri.
Yeah, you see, what usually comes to my mind, I don't know if you watched the battle between the Iraqi army and ISIS, the battle for Mosul, how it went. It was an intense battle. Now, why did I bring that up? News that we got that Boko Haram has now transformed to ISIS in West Africa, brings those pictures to my mind. And the Iraqi army couldn't have defeated ISIS without foreign assistance. It had to get assistance from Western powers. And right now, we don't even see that keenness. Western powers are not really keen.
Putting ground troops.
Even air power to assist Nigeria in pounding these guys out of existence. So what is happening is that our military is being stretched. Is being stretched. This is a conventional army fighting insurgents, fighting, people ragtag. Well, in the beginning, you could call them ragtag, but right now, these guys have become sophisticated. According to the military, they use drones, they use different kinds of sophisticated means. These are people who upload videos. So you're no longer dealing with ragtag, hungry people. People who can give loans to youths to conscript them, are not hungry people. But the basic issues are like the Shehu of Borno has said. What it requires right now is that the military, the Nigerian government must change strategy. The Nigerian government must change its strategy. It can no longer just, pretend that all is well. Because don't forget the resource, we've said it here how many times, the economy is under great strain from this Boko Haram insurgency. And then again, we are losing soldiers. These are well-trained people of different ranks that we are losing.
Commanders.
What are we doing? What are we going to do to replace these people? And these people have families that are being, left, that are being denied of their relatives. So I think the strategy needs to change. And one of the things that need to be cut out of that strategy is the idea that Boko Haram has been defeated. If we continue to tell ourselves that, then we'll be working with overconfidence. And you're dealing with people who are ready to die. They are dealing with people who don't care. They can use any means possible. I commend the military. It's not an easy job. What they're doing is not an easy job. But they need to really, at this point, strategy must change. There's no doubt about that.
One thing Emeka said that caught my attention, Babajide, is that, have we gotten to that point that we seek foreign help in terms of maybe ground troops, in terms of maybe air power to assist us, or, they have to be United Nations or whoever, we have to bring troops here so that they can, since there's an international connection to this Boko Haram thing called ISIS, if they have their base in West Africa and around us here now. Have it gotten to that level to press that panic button?
No, not necessarily to put foreign troops on ground in Nigeria, although I know that Cameroonian soldiers are involved in maneuvers with Nigerian troops in the Bama area. You know, Bama is the commercial capital of Borno State, destroyed by Boko Haram, and is close to Cameroon. So the troops from both countries, they do joint maneuvers in that area to keep the area safe and all that. But beyond that, I think that when our president came in, he didn't see any sense in putting foreign troops here. And if you look at the pace with which we recovered territories from Boko Haram due to the hard work of the Chadian troops, because the Chadian troops are the most seasoned in the whole of this area.
West Africa, yes.
They are the most battle-tested in the whole of this area. In fact, if you see the work that Chadian troops did in Mali, you know that they are a formidable fighting force. And they came to Nigeria. Within days, they had reclaimed territories, although Boko Haram killed so many of them. I have a photograph of the funeral for Chadian troops in their country. They killed many of them here in Nigeria, but they did a good job. The president felt, look, why should we? And he used the language, how are the mighty fallen? It does not believe in that. But unfortunately for us, one of the biggest problems we have is the porous nature of the border. Our border with Niger Republic is extensive, whether through Yobe or through, what's it called, through Borno State. The border is extensive, and they continue to come in through that area. Because, as I always say, I'm sorry, Niger Republic, I see it as a failed state. Boko Haram has active cells inside Niger Republic, and they can come in, they can recruit. Our former defense spokesman, Olukolade, once accused them of providing fighters for Boko Haram, when their own Minister of Defense accused our army of being cowards, always running away from battle. So now the issue is those people coming from those communities, and where we have issues are communities located along that border. The truth is, when El Kanemi said that, he said it's unfortunate that despite all efforts put in place to restore peace in our land and the Northeast, we, the people of Borno State, are still under Boko Haram siege. Nobody can dare move out of Maiduguri by 10 kilometers without being confronted, attacked by Boko Haram. Molei general area, 10 kilometers from the metropolis, people are kidnapped and killed daily. This is a fact. Ayo, there are 10 local governments in Borno North. There is no one of those 10 local governments that you really will not put yourself under serious risk to visit. And in many of those 10 local governments, it's only the headquarters that are safe. You go to Malam Fatori, big town that used to have a lot of traders and all that. Nobody's living there. You go to Monguno, apart from the local government headquarters, other communities are not safe. People from those areas, they are refusing to go home. I talked last week about some senators, even House of Reps members, who cannot visit their hometowns. This is a fact. And then you go to Marte, it's like we have even yielded Marte to these people. Residents of Marte have either fled into Niger Republic or have found refuge in some parts of Borno. Nobody is living in those areas. So Boko Haram can do what they like in those areas. They can train their troops in those Nigerian communities that are not occupied. Some of those areas, like even this Metele, which is located in Abadam, you know Abadam local government. Abadam is a terrible place. It's only someone who wants to waste his life that will think of going there. Till today, as we speak, the Maiduguri Damboa Highway It's not safe. Sometimes even with heavy escort, Boko Haram still attacks army convoys. So you can't on your own just wake up, go to motor park and say you want to travel through that area. People will have to now go through long distance rather than go through Maiduguri BY way. So we have issues. The academy has said the truth. Nigerian army still has a lot of work to do. We commend them for the good work that they have done in the past. But what some of us don't like hearing is the impression that this war has been won. Because the war is far from being won. If a local government headquarters, if in Guzamala local government, which is the local government of the Speaker of Borno State House of Assembly, it's only Gudumbali that is safe. And that Gudumbali that is safe, the governor repaired the town, reconstructed the town, and Boko Haram came, chased soldiers away, and set ablaze the buildings that the governor had just opened. Meanwhile, the people had just returned from IDP camp to their town after the governor rebuilt
those fine houses.
Yes, including the lodge, the government lodge, the health center. They came, chased soldiers away, and set ablaze all those buildings. Why wouldn't they? If they outnumber the soldiers, nobody will tell them before they run. I mean, this is a fact. Just last weekend, they went to Bunigeri, Bunigeri in Yobe State, not far from Buniyadi. Buniyadi, yes. And they killed soldiers. They attacked another army base. So these people are not people that we joke with. No. We have to use heavy-handed tactics against them, because that's the only way we can get victory. Those who say that, insurgency is never won, it's a lie. It's a lie.
I think Sri Lanka
defeated insurgency, but it took 25 years.
Yes.
So no one should say that, no, you don't win any insurgency. You win.
Even
you can
Colombia,
win.
I think Colombia.
Argentina, Algeria defeated insurgency.
Yes.
The insurgency that arose in 1992 in Algeria, when the Muslims were denied victory. Algerian army, which is one of the strongest in Africa, probably the largest in Africa, defeated the insurgency. Insurgency can be defeated, but we have to change our tactics, and as a people, we have to support the troops. In supporting the troops, we will also tell them the truth. Where there are problems, we've complained about the fact that they were merely defensive. I'm happy, as if the Chief of Army Staff was listening to us, he said we will now be offensive. That's a good move. It makes me happy. When we take the battle to them, they will not be able to launch all those stupid attacks that they are launching on us. How can ragtag fighters like that be going to kill soldiers in their army bases? A lot of the killings are not even reported. The killing in Minok, for example, when they went to Minok to attack our army base, is the second attack on the army base in Minok in under 2 years. We did not even talk about it.
Emeka, on the last note, is like this kind of asymmetric war, as in when you look at the way the Emir of Borno has called for a change of tactics and the way we've been doing. And even this morning, I don't know how true it is, I read on the pages of papers that one of the papers said that the $1 billion is yet to be released.
Yes, the army has confirmed that it's not been released.
If there has been an appropriation from the National Assembly and everything, what could be delaying this kind of critical intervention?
This is Nigeria.
No, you know, Nigeria now, I mean, we usually have big budgets.
This kind of critical
but
intervention.
cash backing is usually a problem. It's not just about bringing up...
fail now.
Yeah, it's not... How many of our budgets go beyond 30% implementation?
People are fighting, you are not releasing money to
Let's check it. I mean, if by now the $1 billion have not been released, and we are saying Boko Haram is degraded, has been defeated, how did you do it? So, but for me, I think we must think of more radical strategies, you know, more radical strategies. I know President Goodluck Jonathan used some strategies in fighting these people, which were discarded by President Buhari. I think it may be necessary to it may be necessary to revisit that. It may be necessary to spread our tentacles, and then our air power controller. We must be in charge of that place, because I don't think really that is.
Now they are saying our helicopter will come 2024. I almost gave up on that.
But do we have to? But why do we have to bank on that? We have a lot of friends around the world.
And even those ones who are reluctant. You see, when you talk to these generals, for example, because I have a few friends among them, you understand the pain. When I'm insisting that do something about the equipment, people sit on Facebook and wonder why is he saying this? Who told you they don't have equipment? Is it not equipment? The same equipment that they said are not good, that Boko Haram is using to kill them. The issue is, the army, the Air Force, for example, they want to buy jets, but even some countries like France, they are reluctant to even work with us. Usually the army chief, the Air Force chief goes and says, see, I want to work with you. I want to buy your equipment. But even those ones will be stolen. And you can't go to their country and just grab a fighter jet and come to Nigeria. So there are issues with even our own allies not helping us the way they should help us, not responding. If a country like Chad asks for maybe a MiG now, it will get it
The French
quickly.
government.
The French government, they will supply. But in our own case, they are not helping us. And they've tried their best to look for ways of solving this problem, because equipment is what the guys need. When Goodluck Jonathan couldn't find equipment to buy, he had to go to Ukraine and got those T-72 Russian tanks that Colonel Abu Ali was using. But today, the people who are maybe the contract for servicing of those equipment that we had with the Ukrainians, maybe it was not renewed. Nobody to service those T-72s anymore. So they are largely just there, dormant. Some of them have even been destroyed.
So you see?
So that is the thing. And you need it.
Must change.
It has a range of 2,000 meters. If you have it, it will give you an edge in that war.
You have to go. I want to thank you, Emeka Madunagu. Thank you for being part of the show today. And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Toju. Thank you for always being there. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayo Dele Ozuba. I'll see you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.